Hello, BookTube. I've got a little mail for you on this gray, rainy Boston day. We'll see if anything here is squeal-worthy. It's only 4 packages, but squeals can happen in even the smallest mail hauls. Let's see what we have here. I have an extremely restive baby bean. She hates the rain. She hates even looking at it out her little window, and she absolutely refuses to walk around outside in it. So we have not burnt off any schnauzer energy today. So the little bean is she's ready. She's ready to destroy the mail. So what do we got here? Okay. All right. It has beetles on the cover. It is from Tachyon Publications. They are a small science fiction publisher that I have tended to like. So again, I'm getting science fiction. I'm not really sure why that is. This is coming out, let's see. You want to help me out here? This is coming out in August in a trade paperback. It's by Cameron Hurley, and it's called Meet Me in the Future. Stories. It's a collection of stories. Maybe it's not science fiction. You don't often get a collection of science fiction stories. Oh, well, it's got a blurb by Richard K. Morgan and another one by James Corey, so it probably is. In these edgy, unexpected tales, a body-hopping mercenary avenges his pet elephant, and an orphan falls in love with a sentient starship. Fighters ally to power a reality-bending engine, and a swamp-dwelling introvert tries to save the world from her plague-casting former wife. So come meet Cameron Hurley in the future. It's weirder and far more hopeful than you could ever imagine. All right, who is Cameron Hurley when he's at home? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Cameron is a she. She's author of The Stars Are Legion, The Light Brigade, The Geek Feminist Revolution, and the God's War Trilogy, and the Worldbreaker Saga, and has won the Hugo, the Kitschy, the BSFA, and the Sidney J. Bounds Awards. Goodness gracious. And she regularly upkeeps her website, CameronHurley.com. Okay, so this comes out in August in a trade paperback. Meet Me in the Future, a collection of science fiction short stories. That's a little bit unexpected, but I'm not getting the impression I'm going to get anything in this little mail haul that is expected. Let's see what this next one is. Let's see if that will prove me wrong. What have we got here next? Okay, this is an April release, getting to me in finished copy. This is Throw Me to the Wolves by Patrick McGinnis. I think we saw this in an advance copy, due in late April. In the aftermath of Brexit, the body of a young woman is found in the River Thames. The tabloids are instantly aflame, pointing fingers at her neighbor, Mr. Wolfram, a former teacher at an elite boarding school and the perfect target for media monstering. Media monstering. Okay. Intellectual, introverted, and eccentric. Oh, right, you could media monster half of BookTube if that was the case. Charged with investigating this murder is a detective who once was one of Wolfram's students. As the case unfolds, he must face memories from decades ago he has tried hard to forget. The routine physical and psychological abuse acted out by teachers at the school, although never Wolfram. Okay. And his friend and schoolmate Danny, who disappeared in the peak of the IRA terror. In the midst of the present murder investigation, the detective confronts his own suppressed memory, which proves the ultimate source of both mystery and revelation. Okay. All right. So it has the momentum of a classic crime fiction and the emotional depth of literary fiction. We shall see. We shall see. You know what will be the absolute death knell to it having, what was that again? The emotional depth of literary fiction. You know, it would be the absolute death knell of that. You could probably see it coming. I'll tell you what will determine whether or not this has, and whether or not this book essentially is for adults. And that is, who was it again? His old school chum Danny, who disappeared at the peak of the IRA terror. If Danny ends up being the killer, then this is a silly novel and all the characters in it know they're in a novel. But we shall see. It's coming up right away, so I have every reason to get to it. I don't have, I confess, maybe I'm getting just a wee bit cynical at age 28, but I don't have any doubt at all that is what's going to be true in this book. I don't have any doubt at all. Those of you, as plenty of you, have tried to stick up for your beloved made-up stories, but they are so dumb. They are just so dumb. Any far-flung coincidence that you can see coming a country mile away is going to end up being true. It's just, I've just thought up a character off the top of my head. I've had 3 highballs. I'm a little bit tipsy. And I think he might be a good character. I'm not going to invest any time or effort in fleshing him out. And you know what I'm going to have him do next? I'm going to move him to another room. And he might slip on something. And then... yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Come back to me when you have a military history of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Okay, but until then... anyway. I will give it a try and see. So let's try this next one. This next one's one of these pressed cardboards. We're almost done. We'll just do 4. So... Oh. Okay, let's get you a manageable piece so that you can. That went over well. Okay. All right. I don't know that we've seen this either. This is due in April. It's a finished copy due in April. This is The Book of Dreams by Nina George, whose name might be familiar to you because she is the, I want to say, perpetrator, but she is the author of The Little Paris Bookshop. An odious book. Absolutely odious. Not just badly done, but odious. Just in contention for one of the worst modern novels I have ever read. So, I admit, underneath my super sexy exterior, I am still human. If I get a book from an author who has pleased me endlessly in the past, I am, of course, going to go into that book with a small amount of topspin in favor of the author. They have a escrow account of good credit with me that they will have to exhaust. Most of them do. Because I don't think there's usually more than one really good book in any fiction writer. Maybe 2. Unless they're writing strictly formulaic stuff, maybe 2. And the miracles, the people who do more than that, and they're all good, that they're extremely rare, far rarer than the publishing world would have us believe. And the same thing is true when an author has deeply, deeply displeased me. Then they have a deficit. They're working just to get back to normal, just to get back to a level playing field. I'm afraid that's true with this author. So let's see what we have here. She's beloved around the world for her best-selling novels, The Little Paris Bookshop and The Little French Bistro, which transported readers to the romantic streets of Paris and the sensuous coast of Brittany. Yes. Little Paris Bookshop also transported readers to the romantic world of reading, in which there's a right way and a wrong way to read, in which you are either ready for Garcia Lorca or you aren't, and when you're ready, you won't know. You'll blunder into a bookstore and you might pick up the wrong author, in which case it'd be like you're downing a vial of cyanide. No. Leave it to the high priestess. Or priest, the bookseller. Leave it to that person to tell you what you're ready for and what you're not. And they will, of course, be sure, because there's only one right way to read, right? So you come in all blundering and useless and stupid because you're not woke, but the people who will condescend to help you, don't you worry. Don't you worry your pretty little head. You just put your reading fate in their hands, and they will tell you what you're ready for and what you're not. On his way to surprise his estranged son, Sam, Henri Skinner, a hardened ex-war reporter on the run from his past, rescues a young girl who has fallen into the Thames. People can't stay clear of the Thames. Good Lord. He ends up in a horrific car accident where he sustains serious injuries of his own. He falls into a coma, stuck between life and death, wandering amongst memory, dream, and the visits from those who love him. A sensitive and highly intelligent teenager, Sam, makes daily visits to the hospital, hoping to become acquainted with the father he has never known. There he meets Eddie Tomlin, Henri's long-lost love. Sam and Eddie soon embark on a potent friendship as they wait at Henri's bedside and hope for him to emerge from the depths of his coma. But he's not really in a coma, because nobody really is in a coma. They're wandering in a fantasy land, having all sorts of epiphanies. Moving between the perspectives of Henri, Sam, and Eddie, George explores the decisions, large and small, that make up their lives, And through these rich, captivating characters, George probes existential questions about consciousness, life, love, and loss. God help us all. I'd rather have a macaque monkey probe those questions than this author. And the characters are not captivating. I guarantee you they won't be rich and captivating. They'll each be thumbnail sketches for the screenplay that these books are meant to be. For the movie that the author has playing in her head when she's writing this. There won't be any resonance to them whatsoever. I could be wrong. Okay, all right. Let me hesitate. No, let me hasten to add, I could be wrong. This author's written 2 books. I have intensely hated both of them, but this is a new book, and maybe the author has had some sort of trauma. By the sounds of this mail haul, maybe she fell in the Thames. Apparently, people are lining up to do that. Who knows what it is? Any author can have what the Germans refer to in their classic and melodious way as an Anfechtung, an astonishing moment of self-awareness, of self-revelation. Any author can have that. Any person can. This is due in early April. I will investigate it with an open mind. Then we have this last one. It's another big cardboard, and it's refreshingly heavy, so it could be a big finish copy, which would be nice. Let's see what we have here. Oh, it is. Oh my. Okay, great. I think we saw this already on this channel. Wow, I didn't know we were getting so close to the finished copy. Oh, early April, right here. It's right here. It's an oddity from the folks at Pantheon Press. It's an oddity. It's by Andrea Wolf and Lillian Melcher, and it is The Adventures of Alexander von Humboldt in a large graphic novel, in an oversized graphic novel. Let me tell you about it. I'm not sure that we ever saw this on this channel. I have already read it, but I will read it again. In her beloved best-selling book, The Invention of Nature, which was fantastic. The Invention of Nature is fantastic. Andrea Wolf brought the visionary German naturalist and explorer Alexander von Humboldt to life. Largely forgotten when that book was published in 2015, Humboldt in his age was considered the most famous man in the world after Napoleon. Wolf's book revived Humboldt and his legacy and went on to be named Best Book of the Year by the Nature, the Atlantic, the Economist, and many others. Designated as one of the New York Times 10 Best Books of the Year and won numerous prizes, including the LA Times Book Prize and the Royal Geographical Society's Ness Award. Now, that same author has collaborated with an artist to do a large graphic novel about her subject. Imagine if many authors did that. Imagine if somebody writes a 3-volume scholarly biography of Franz Kafka and then partners with their favorite graphic novelist to do a graphic novel of that. I can't help but think we'd all be the richer for that. She has partnered with artist Lillian Melcher to bring Humboldt's daring expedition to South America to life in lavish full color. Inspired by his diaries, plant specimens, engravings, sketches, maps, and drawings, Wolf tells the story from a completely new perspective and gives us an intimate portrait of the man who predicted human-induced climate change, fashioned poetic narrative out of scientific observation, and influenced iconic figures such as Simon Bolivar, Thomas Jefferson, and Charles Darwin. And I read this because it is such a fascinating, weird project for an author to do. To take a critically and popularly powerful biography that they've worked for years on, and then adapt it as a graphic novel. And not only that, but an eye-catchingly strange graphic novel. It's even the normal size. It's not a paperback. It's not the normal size of a graphic novel. I thought that whole project was fascinating. Unfortunately, I mean, I will read this again, absolutely, and I'm glad that I have a finished copy. But unfortunately, well, I don't know, maybe you'll disagree. Unfortunately, the big, huge problem with this is that the artwork is terrible. I mean, that's a horrible thing to say, but this is out in the big world. Pantheon is a major publisher, and this is... You wouldn't know it from the cover. The cover is fairly eye-catching, but I mean, what am I supposed to do with that as an illustration? Or this as illustrations? It's not just primitive, faux primitive, or intentionally childish. It's just maybe it's just a style that I need to like. But look at how it's not just the illustrations, it's the design. Look at how well, Okay. Like I said, I'll give it another try. I went through the advanced copy. I read it, and I was fascinated the whole time by the... I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with that? It's ugly. but maybe there's a... I don't know. Maybe there's a way. I'll give it another try. It looks like this is going to be an open-minded reading experience, this whole mail haul for me. So we have The Adventures of Alexander von Humboldt in a graphic novel for adults. It's just a big, oversized, elaborate thing for adults. Kind of amazing. Then we have the Book of Dreams by Nina George, about a man in a fairy coma. He's probably not crapping himself. He's probably not seizing, and he's probably going to be one of the less than 1/100th of 1% of people who are in an extended coma and wake up just fine. Only better than fine, because he will have been wandering around in spiritual realms that don't exist while his son and his best friend are snogging in the supply closet. Well, that didn't sound very open-minded, did it? I am going to go at this book with an open mind. I promise I am. I promise I am. It's just, this author has not pleased me. I will try to set that aside. Then we have Throw Me to the Wolves. Yet another chronicle of this suddenly very dangerous River Thames. I have staggered along the River Thames, badly drunk, with poets and novelists, many, many, many times, when there was nothing between us and the water. No embankment, no guardrail, no nothing. And I'm still here to talk about it, but apparently. And also from Tachyon, Meet Me in the Future by Cameron Hurley, a collection of science fiction short stories. So a bit of an odd mail haul for this very rainy day, but some things of interest. And we have lots of other stuff to talk about, so I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.